welcome to Good Grief, the podcast dedicated to demystifying and destigmatizing grief with compassion and humor. I'm Nikki. I'm an end-of-life doula and a grief coach in Columbus, Ohio. And today we're going to talk about emotional pain. Yay! How often are my subjects super fun anyway? I would hope you're still getting some enjoyment out of this in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, so thank you for tuning in. And hey, don't forget, I've been posting the podcast episodes on my Facebook page, and I would love for some discussions to happen there. Maybe answer your question to the death deck question, or just say hello, or let me know what you thought. Give me ideas for other episodes, engage. Okay. So yeah, we're going to talk about emotional pain. This was a subject that was requested of me, I believe, by my friend Carrie. So hi, Carrie. Thank you for saying, I'm sorry it's been so long. You suggested this months ago, and I'm just now getting to it. So thank you. So psychological pain, emotional pain, mental pain. The technical terms include, I'm going to desperately try to pronounce this and butcher it, algopsychalia or psychalgia. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Spiritual pain, soul pain, social pain, mental pain, emotion. There's so many different terms for this. Okay, before I dive in, I made a promise to myself, and I'm going to make this promise to you, that I will not sing REM's Everybody Hurts at any point in this episode. I don't have the rights to it anyway. I'd probably have a heck of a lawsuit on my hand. So I will not sing it. But it is true. We all experience emotional pain at some time or another in our lives. So what exactly is emotional pain? It's pretty self-explanatory. I think we should kind of get the gist of what it is. But it's pain that is originating from a non-physical source, like emotional distress from actions of other people, grief, loss, something I talk about all the time, anxiety, depression can all cause emotional pain. And it's intense. It's awful. It's kind of sucky poo. But some research has shown that physical pain and psychological pain share a lot of underlying neurological mechanisms. So the brain regions that are found to be impacted with both types of pain are the anterior cingulate cortex and prefrontal cortex. I used big words, you guys. They may extend to other regions as well. But brain regions that were also found to be involved in psychological pain include the insular cortex, posterior. You know what? This doesn't matter. But basically what I'm getting at is that there's been some research done that emotional pain and physical pain tend to trigger the same parts of the brain at times. So that's why when you're feeling an emotional pain, you might feel it in a certain spot. Some people get headaches. Some people get nausea. I tend to feel mine like right in the middle of my gut, which I feel is pretty common. But odds are you felt it at some point and you know what it is, right? So, but why do we have this? Why does emotional trauma and grief and sad things, why does this cause us pain? Why does this cause a physical reaction? The short answer is survival. Pain's a danger signal. It's the old adage of you touch a hot stove and it hurts, right? That's your body's way of saying, get your damn hand off the stove. You're going to melt your skin off and do a lot of damage, right? So emotional pain is very similar, right? It's telling us that something is not right. Something is different. Something has changed. And from an evolutionary perspective, rejection is not a good thing. Like if you think about where we came from and how we interacted as a society back in, caveman days, we had to depend on each other to survive, right? And if you weren't part of a pack or a group or tribe or whatever, and you were on your own, that could be bad. You could die, You don't have friends to help you fight off those saber-toothed tigers and mastodons. And obviously, if there's no other people around, you're going to have a hard time reproducing. So our human ancestors are way far back. We did everything we could to avoid rejection and maintain part of a group, a tribe. So when we experience rejection or emotional trauma, our brains behave similarly to the way they do when we're in physical pain. It's our body's way of saying, okie dokie, we got to fix something here, right? Although, as I say, can't fix your grief. Learn to live with it. We all know this. So basically, a lot of psychologists that have studied this in the past feel that emotional pain is kind of piggybacking on our already existing physical pain system in our brains of our early ancestors. That was very mumbo jumbo-y, right? Sorry. But the pain you feel after you have a fight with your spouse or, have lost somebody in your life, either, through death or any other means. I mean, we'll even use a term sometimes for traumatic losses as it was a gut punch, right? Because it kind of feels that way. It feels like somebody punched you right in the gut. And the whole adage of a broken heart. Your heart is broken because your heart hurts. You're probably having a physiological response in your chest, in your gut areas. So what do we do to cope with our emotional pain? How do we help this? Well, you can't put an ice pack on it. You can't stick a Band-Aid on it. Although, let's face it, when you're a little kid, didn't having mommy put a Band-Aid on your boo-boo just make it all better all of a sudden? But that was love. It was love from your mother or your caregiver expressing and manifesting its way in a Band-Aid on a boo-boo. So that is one way. If you are, can rely on somebody who can give you some comfort, some love, some support, that's obviously a great way to cope with our emotional pain and trauma. But try to avoid, I just had an episode on assumptions about grief, right? And I talk a lot about our societal reactions and our societal beliefs in grief, grieving, pain, all this stuff. Try to ignore a lot of that as best you can. You hear a lot of get over it. It's okay. You'll get past this one day. Everything will get by. You do your grief in your way. How many times do I say that? Every damn episode, right? Sometimes, and this was huge for me personally, attach a label. Labels are bad, but sometimes they're good. Give a label to what you're feeling, right? Whether it's, okay, this is grief. What I'm feeling is grief. And that's why I'm saying this was such a huge thing for me personally. I was going through a really rough patch a few years ago with my mental health. And I just don't know what caused it, what happened. I was just feeling like I was probably the worst I'd been in decades. And I finally had, after about 10 therapists, somebody tell me that I was grieving. And it just never occurred to me that I was grieving. Once I realized that it was grief, I could work with it. I could learn to work past it, Once I had that label to work with, it helped astronomically. So also, a lot of things I've referenced to dealing with grief will work in these situations because a lot of times this is grief that's causing this. Emotional pain, emotional trauma is a lot of times a symptom of your grief, right? So mindful practices, journaling, thinking about it, talking about it, seeking professional help if it's interfering with your daily life, things like that. I'm not going to be the one that's going to be like, oh, you're feeling sad, go for a walk and I'll be better. Oh, you're feeling sad, do some yoga, it'll all feel better, because that doesn't always work for everybody. But for some people, it does. Get out and go for a walk. Move your body a little bit. Sometimes it helps to snap you out of a deep moment to just quickly shift something in your life. A trick I learned with panic attacks or really bad psychological episodes was to take an ice cube and put it in your hand and squeeze it as hard as you can, because it hurts, right? It's a safer mechanism of shocking your system into, okay, my entire system is focused on this thing now, and it at least helps take the edge off of a panic attack or a severe emotional crisis. Don't be afraid to have a sense of humor. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a sense of humor about this. Like, I crack jokes every now and then about my dead brother. I did the work the other day and horrified a couple coworkers, but obviously that doesn't make my pain any less, doesn't make my grief any less, and it doesn't mean I don't love him. I just have gallows humor. But don't be afraid to have a sense of humor when the time is right. You don't have to right away start cracking jokes if you're not ready. So, just something to keep in mind. So, emotional pain, if untreated or ignored, can obviously rear its ugly head and make things worse, right? It can not only have the original feelings of pain, sadness, whatever, it can start manifesting into anger, anxiety. It can cause depression. It can have feelings of shame and guilt. It can impact you in so many ways. I've was just listening to a podcast the other day, and there's a story about a young man who was very young, and he was so anxious about something that he made himself sick for weeks on end. He went to so many doctors, and it was just, he was a nervous kid, right? But these things can lead to bigger problems: aggression, violence, alcohol and substance abuse, suicidal ideations, compulsive behaviors, all of those gamut things. And this is just grief in general. Left untreated, these things can rear their ugly heads and manifest in bad ways. So let's try to work on that, right? Again, talk to somebody, get some social support, maybe hire a grief coach. I'm winking at you right now because I'm a grief coach. So this wasn't obviously a very long episode. It was rather short. But that's really all there is to it. It's just, this is something that exists. It is very, very real. And I've mentioned before in other episodes that sometimes your pain can manifest itself physically. It can show up in your life and you may not fully understand what it is that's happening. Like I was talked about with my mental health crisis, when I didn't realize why I was suffering so badly, and it was grief. And once I knew that, I could move forward. So recognizing our pain, giving it a name, all of that just kind of helps bring it home so that we can move forward. So we're not just flailing around blindly in the ocean. Okay? The ocean of sad. Oh God, I hope there's not an ocean of sad. Okay. But hey, if you're in an ocean of sad, there are some people that can help you. Namely, the folks at BetterHelp. I need to give a big shout out to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. So, I'm always telling you, I just said, professional help is a great way to work through grief, right? The folks at BetterHelp can do that for you. It is the world's largest therapy service, 100% online. So, as I always say, if you don't want to wear pants to therapy, you don't have to anymore. It's a new world out there, you guys. You can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues like emotional pain. You just go to their website, answer a few quick questions about your needs and your preferences, and boom, you're on your way to a better life with BetterHelp. You can talk with your therapist however it is most comfortable for you. You can do it via text, chat, phone calls, video calls, any of these things. You can message your therapist at any time, schedule live sessions when it works for you. So you don't have to worry about missing work or missing your favorite TV show. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked just for you, with more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. And you can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Nikki the Death Doula. So go there today. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Nikki the Death Doula. Awesome. So thank you so much. All right, with that, you guys, it is time for the Death Deck. Yay! So, and I'm using the actual Death Deck this time. Going back to the Death Deck. So I'm going to shuffle it up. Whoa. I'm going to spill a bunch on the floor because this deck is too big to shuffle. And one flipped out and backwards. So let's see what that says. Do you believe in miracles? I believe in miracles. Hey, I didn't say I wasn't going to sing at all. Yes, they can happen at any time. No, it's on us to make things happen. Or only in rare occasions, if I were in peril, then I would believe. You know what? Yes, I believe in miracles. I absolutely believe in miracles. I feel like I've seen some small M miracles in my life. I don't know about any big M miracles, but I've heard stories that I would like to believe. So yes, I do believe in miracles. Where are you from? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. God, you guys, I'm crazy. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, my terrible singing aside. Don't forget to follow me on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. Hey, leave me reviews too. That's apparently a great way for people to find me. I want to help as many people as I can. So leave me a review. And, do the stars, but also write a little something. Say how sexy you think my voice is or how obnoxious you think I am. You know what? Maybe don't say that. And also don't forget to follow me on my socials. I'm Nikki the Death Doula on Instagram, Facebook, and I started a dumb Twitter. I don't know. We'll see, guys. I have a Twitter now. Nikki the Death Doula. Or I think it's just Nikki Death Doula on Twitter because you only get so many characters anyway. If you enjoyed this and you want to help me out, you can check me out on Patreons. Patreon.com/Nikki the Death Doula. I send out semi-weekly grief affirmations. I share other great things, and you get early access and ad-free versions of this podcast, as well as video content and some other exciting things. You can support me there. I would appreciate it. As always, the money I receive from Patreon goes to a fund so that I can provide pro bono work to those who cannot afford my services. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, your grief is yours. Your feelings are valid. And grief doesn't always have to suck.